Welcome in, everybody. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Peace of My Mind podcast. I am your host, J. Scott Gatsby, and today we are once again recording in my safe space, the Inner Sanctum. And in this episode, we will be discussing how algorithms abuse the subconscious desire for appreciation by incentivizing the non-stop production of products and content with monetary gain and viral exposure. We will also be talking about how simply resting in this era of grind culture is truly a revolutionary act of resistance. So, no matter where you are or what you're doing, I invite you to find your comfiest sweater and join me for this much needed conversation. Let's begin. I want to start this conversation with a very friendly reminder that we are human beings. We are also social beings, and we desire to be heard, seen, felt, understood, loved, and appreciated, especially as artists. We are currently in the age of the internet, more specific to this conversation, the age of social media. Oftentimes, our attention is directed by algorithms aiming to keep our hands on our devices, our eyes on the screens, and our minds off of true equity for all people. This systematic approach to keeping our focus has conditioned us into craving instant gratification and artificial happiness in the form of likes, comments, follows, and shares. This method of control is modeled after B.F. Skinner's behavioral theory of operant conditioning. This theory essentially explains how behavior that is rewarded is more likely to be maintained by an individual in comparison to behavior that is punished. The algorithms of social media platforms prioritize content that garners the most interactions from its users. By studying this very pattern, the owners of these platforms can determine what trends of products, music, and culture gain and maintain popularity. This isn't human. It actually causes us to stray further away from humanity by making our friendships and relationships with our peers more transactional, because due to the fact that we respond according to what feels rewarding to us and stimulates our hormones positively, we are not looking for things that are more thoughtful and more caring of a human's emotions. We're more so looking for a way to gain our own way up in society, whether that be stepping on or using people for any way that you can benefit them because you need this kind of viral exposure, and or this person is supplying a support that you can't get from anybody else because you know that you can take advantage of them that way because their heart is that big. It's always a transaction, and it causes people to not collaborate as easily as they once would because they are looking for something in return. It's not a genuine relationship that we have with people, or we're even interested in building with people. It is more so based off of transactions. How can me rocking with you benefit me, essentially? Comparison has always been the thief of joy, but now it's even more so because of the things that we oftentimes see on social media. On social media, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that we only see clips and pieces of people's lives that they want us to see, i.e. the good parts. We don't oftentimes see people's struggles more than we see their moments that they're proud of, whether it's graduations, vacations, pay raises, getting married, having kids, etc. All of these positive things in life are things that we usually see. We don't usually see people's harder parts of the process, of which they keep hidden and they do behind closed doors, because that isn't something that is going to make the algorithm turn in their favor, i.e., granting them more viral exposure or the higher potential to go viral off of the content that they're producing. Subconsciously, we as human beings make sense of what things are and their value by comparing what we see and observe outside of our personal lives with the things inside of them. Social media only amplifies this negative effect that comparison has on our perception by systematically displaying content of other people's lives with the help of algorithms that study the trends of content that we interact with. Enough screen time can create an addiction to both social media and grind culture to fulfill the artificial desire for the lifestyles and products promoted to us and the internet. The vast majority of lifestyles that we can observe on social media would not exist without the advent of grind culture. Grind culture can be defined as a toxic set of beliefs that glorifies constant work and productivity at the expense of personal well-being, rest, and a balanced life. Grind culture is truly a legacy of capitalism because capitalism cannot survive without the widespread belief of its validity ingrained into its victims, the working class and the poor. The American dream is truly nothing more than an illusion and a narrative that anyone can achieve success with hard work. This dangerous ideology reinforces the belief that personal success has everything to do with individual effort and nothing to do with systemic factors such as historical oppression and systemic racism. The truth is, you shouldn't have to have two jobs or a side hustle just to be able to barely attain the necessities that you need to live as a human being. You shouldn't have to sacrifice the time you genuinely need to rest your heart, mind, and body to do more work for a company that sees you more as a tool than a human being. We are not machines. We are human beings. We are not made to work so constantly while also being made to feel guilty about resting. The only ones who benefit from this system are the ones who own the means of productions, aka the ruling class. Actually, according to research done by Muhammad Zaran Asari and his team in the literature review of hustle culture on mental health, they concluded that individuals accustomed to hustle culture tend to not have a balance between life, work, time, and satisfaction. This leads to individuals to develop not only a fear of being left behind in comparison to their peers, but also at significantly higher risk for mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and OCD. According to this research, hustle culture achieved this effect by triggering people to share their busy lives on social media, which puts pressure on other individuals to work more and rest less. In truth, grind culture is a mechanism that is constructed by the bourgeoisie to ensure that their workers are addicted to making profit for them. My question is, what if the very solution to this propaganda is prioritizing rest in the same way we incentivize it for what we deem as hard work? Me personally, I don't believe that rest is laziness at all. In fact, I actually believe that rest is a very powerful statement of self-love, respect, and self-preservation. To grow in life, we must ensure that we are firstly present and secondly healthy enough to do so. Spending so much time to work only means less time for our minds to rest, which is what we all need as human beings to operate properly. Should we starve our minds for the rest it needs, we will be deficient in mental clarity, creativity, and overall well-being, which are all essential to doing a good job in the first place. Even too much work that you love is still a bad thing because you grant yourself no time for leisure with friends and family, or even by yourself. As social beings, our health will decline should we deprive ourselves of healthy interpersonal relationships with our loved ones. A healthy lifestyle must include proper rest because our development depends on it. Without it, we lose our humanity by not allowing ourselves deep connections with our own feelings. In truth, rest is a human right. You should not feel bad for admitting that you need time to do nothing because of how much time you dedicate to working. Choosing rest is a good habit that also establishes healthy boundaries to help maintain a true balance of life and work. There should not be a risk of death by poverty between a choice of rest or work. This choice exists because capitalism preys on its victims' feeling of guilt and perceptions of success. We as people living under capitalism can fight against this oppression by uniting in stance and understanding of how vital rest is to our humanity. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that our path back to humanity lies with achieving more rest. And you can do this by first organizing your time. You must know what your days look like before you can understand what opportunities you even have for leisure. After this, you want to make sure the time that you take off, understanding what time you do have to do do so is spent very effectively. So after you finish organizing your time and figure out what kind of free space you do have in your days, you'll want to start taking note of settings, activities, and other things that bring you genuine joy, relief, and pleasure, because you don't want to spend the free time that you've allocated for yourself ineffectively. You know what I'm saying? And after compiling this list, organize a new schedule for yourself with the dates and times of freedom that you've discovered. Finally, and honestly, most importantly, you must begin deconstructing the idea of feeling guilt or shame for choosing rest. Life is not a race and your path is your own. Comparing your life to others is always going to hinder your ability to be truly happy. Instead, take note of what you're grateful for about yourself and your life to maintain the motivation for healthy growth. In conclusion, rest should be way more of a priority than it is an option. We currently live in the age of the internet and even more so social media. These are very dangerous times for us because of the negative influences that the underlying messages embedded in the content promoted to us by these algorithms hold. These messages include feeling guilt or shame for simply resting. The grind culture that we are all subjected to by the ruling class was created to ensure that we all believe in the illusion that is the American dream. The truth about this matter, however, is that there are always systemic factors outside of our individual control at work determining how successful we will become in life. Research has shown that believing in grind culture can result in being at higher risk for mental health disorders. The only way to combat this is by choosing our human right to rest. Perceiving rest to be anything less than a human right is what makes it so easy for us to incentivize it for what we deem as hard work. What should be most important to us as human beings is maintaining the boundaries that allow for us to grow in a healthy manner. Thank you so much for tuning in yet again for another episode of the Peace of My Mind podcast. I appreciate all of you for your patience and your love for me because it truly means everything to me. If you do have a little more to spare, I always appreciate a like if you enjoyed the episode and a comment below to let me know how you feel about the issue. And before you go, for all of my music lovers, you should check out our curated playlist on Apple Music. With the link in the description, you will find a number of playlists assembled to set the mood for the function, a better direction in life, or even something romantic for you and yours. Last thing, this will serve as an intermission episode because I am not a machine, I am a human being, and like the episode insists, I need a rest. Juggling school, work, and creativity is a constant challenge that I have found myself barely able to keep up with. Do not worry though, come next episode, I'll be in yet another location giving you the pieces of peace your mind needs. As always, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest episodes and other content. And until next time, stay peaceful with love.